Your trusted connectivity partner, Telkom Business, proudly brings you the Entrepreneurial SME Show.
For the South African economy to grow, we need to grow the manufacturing sector. One entrepreneur who's doing exactly that is Lindiwe Nkuna. Her company, Lindiwe Sanitary Pads, aims to address the significant need for affordable and accessible menstrual products within the country. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial SME with me, Rems Mabote. Lindiwe joins me to share her journey of how she penetrated the market. Before we get to it though, let's take a quick look at how this business came into function.
My name is Lindiwe Nkuna Kgopa. I own this company called Lindiwe Sanitary Pads. We manufacture and distribute sanitary pads. We're based in Pretoria, Centurion. We own Africa's first large-scale sanitary pads manufacturing company that's woman-owned. So I've been running this business for the past 9 years now. And it's been a journey from the kitchen in my house to now moving from one incubation center to another, up to this stage where about last year we're able to raise funding for us to build this 4,000 square meter factory, and we bought machinery that produces 800 sanitary pads per minute, making it the second fastest in the country and the first of its kind to be woman-owned. The idea of starting this business actually came when one of the speakers in an event that I had attended said they were not happy with the fact that in South Africa we've never had a female president and we do not have a sanitary pads manufacturing company that's owned by a woman. So I decided I'm going to take this challenge and start and change that narrative. So my target market ranges from government, retailers, wholesalers, and obviously the end user, which is you and me, the women of South Africa. Three things that comes to my mind. Obviously, the first one was when we got funded through the IDC and the DTIC and their Black Industrialist program. Then the second one was when the President of the Republic, President Ramaphosa, awarded me with the Black Industrialist of the Year award under the female category. And the third one is when business partners gave us the Entrepreneur of the Year award under the emerging category. So that for me, and obviously when our machine came, because that meant that we moved from being a small scale company to now being an industrial business. So one of the other challenges that we've got is that we do not have raw material suppliers in South Africa. So we've got to import everything, and that means that we are very vulnerable to the strength of the rand-dollar exchange rate. So it becomes very difficult for us to operate in that as a small business. I see Lindiwe Sanitary Pads in the Johannesburg Stock Exchange and the London Stock Exchange in the next 5 years.
Hello, Lindiwe, and thank you for coming in.
Hi, Rose. Thanks for
having me. You are the first industrialist that I get to interview here. I'm so chuffed.
Oh, really?
Well, you know, interview entrepreneurs, but industrialists, I'm so chuffed. But you got to help me understand this. So somebody speaks about how we've never had a female president, we've never had somebody who does what you do, and boom, you just do it. What were you doing before then?
So I was in accounting and trying to do a lot of other businesses that kept failing. So yeah, I did a lot of things.
So even in accounting, it was your own business?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And you get into this business, you obviously had to source some funds. Tell us about that.
So, well, this was done out of excitement, right? We've never had a female
That's
president.
how it sounded like.
Yes, yeah. And we don't have a sanitary pads manufacturer that's a woman.
Yeah.
Therefore, we need to change the status quo. We need to change the world. But then there's no experience, there's no... I'd never been in a sanitary pad, in a factory, let alone a sanitary pads factory, you know. And then I had to go and find funding, right? And for years, for about 6 years or so, I was labeled not fundable, not investment ready. And I said, I'm not going to give up, you know. I then asked the funders, what do you mean? What do I need to be funding ready and all of that? I then built the profile, you know, because I didn't have the profile. I then started selling sanitary pads, then started rebranding sanitary pads, having my own brand, selling from the boot of my car, having some sort of market share. Then until 6-7 years later, that the funders and the powers that be thought, okay, now she's got the profile, she's funding ready. That was the journey.
Why do you think it took this long, and it had to be Lindiwe, for a woman, let alone a black woman, to get into this business? I mean, it has to be the most obvious.
I think, I'm sorry about that, but I think the biggest problem is that as black women, actually not just as black women, as African women, right? Menstruation is something that we taught is something to be ashamed of, and it's something that is secretive, that we only talk to our moms and female figures about, right? Therefore, it's not something that one, actually, if you have to think of a business, you can think menstruation, you know? Yeah. But then for me, when I heard that we do not have a sanitary pads manufacturer that's a woman, we've got brand owners, but we don't have the manufacturers, right? I then said, it means there's no shame in talking about menstruation, because if we don't own the means of production of these products, it means the men are talking about it.
And making money out of it.
And making money out of it. So the men are talking about it in the boardroom. Yeah. So that's when I then thought, you know what, let's change this. Let's challenge this. We can't just be end users of sanitary pads. We've got to be part of what I call the mainstream menstrual economy.
I agree with you. So you start the business, but you know, then you realize, as you said, that sourcing material is tough, right? The material that you need, we don't have it here. Doesn't that make the business expensive then?
Yeah, so sourcing raw material obviously is something that is a disadvantage for us, because you can't find it locally. And the fact that we can't find it locally means that we've got to buy raw material for 6 months and store it, right? That means that cash is then trapped in raw material. That affects cash flow anyway. And also it means you're not as liquid as you would be if you were able to go down the road and buy raw material.
What material is this that we do not have here in this country?
SAP, you wouldn't understand.
Yes,
yes. But everything that goes into, the only thing that we find here in South Africa and that we're sourcing in South Africa so far is the packaging. The packaging we're able to source locally, and we are happy with that.
And there is absolutely no way that it could be done here?
I'm sure there is. I think there are people that are trying to get into that space, you know, but it's work in progress. And while they are trying to find their way in that, my business still needs to run, so I still have to go overseas and source that.
How big has the business grown? What number of people do you employ? Tell me about that. So
in our peak, we employ about 94 women. We are women-centric, so I've made a conscious decision to make sure that it's about women as much as possible. And in terms of the production capacity, our machinery produces 800 sanitary pads per minute, and we are based in a 4,000 square meter factory. Yeah, okay. So
okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we continue our conversation with Lindiwe.